Hey, this is Ryan Tucker, and we want to thank you for listening to the Unchangeable Truth podcast. In this podcast, we get to dive into Pastor Stephen's weekly sermons right here at Highland Park Baptist Church. We would ask you to rate, like, subscribe, and comment. And again, we are honored and thankful that you have chosen to listen to the Unchangeable Truth. Hey, it's Ryan Tucker and Pastor Stephen right here on the Unchangeable Truth podcast. And we are recording on post July 4th. Because, well, I mean, we have July 4th this weekend.
July the 4th.
I was trying to figure out how to say it. We had July 4th this weekend. How was your July 4th? Was it good? I had a good time.
It was okay. It was good. It was hot. And, everybody decided to come to my house, and I was cool with that. And hey, Dad, we want you to grill this and grill that. I'm like, I'm down with that. And then I got out mowing the yard early in the morning too, and I'm like, my goodness, it is hot. The pool water wasn't even cold. It was hot. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, yeah, okay, I could. It's gonna take me a while on this grill. The pork and the chicken and the, maybe some ribs and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait. But I got a friend that owns his own barbecue place. Let me call old Vic and see what he's got on the grill. He had everything I wanted.
Nice.
Yeah. So I went over and got that, and I'm like, all right, here we go.
I had a bunch of young people in my house popping fireworks late at night. Not too late. They got done about 10. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I guess maybe in the city limits it used to be illegal to shoot fireworks here. I can't remember. I want to say so.
It's not in my neighborhood.
Well, it's not in my neighborhood either. There was some serious fireworks going off in our place. Not us, not me, but
we had to go pick up stuff off our neighbor's driveway because we left stuff over there.
Yeah. I expected stuff to be in my place, but no.
Goodness.
But nothing says God bless America like an M80. I think those are illegal. I don't even think man, we used to have some M80s back in the day, man. Now even fireworks are sanitized. Yeah. But, they put all these things together and you just like one little thing and then it goes for like 20 minutes.
Well, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Oh, anyway.
I reminded my wife, I'm like, do you remember one of the first dates that we went on was to the 4th of July fireworks shindig in Memphis.
Nice.
Down on the river.
Nice. I bet you that was a show.
That was a show. And like you would sync it to a radio station and the music would come across the radio station, a lot of things. And anyway, I'm like, you remember that? And she goes, it was so long ago.
At least she didn't say that wasn't me.
So long ago. That's true. She didn't say that wasn't me. I don't, because I think I only went one time. And I only went because I'm like, I need to think of something to do with this girl, take her somewhere. Let's go to Memphis to the fireworks show, the 4th of July. So she's not a big firework fan.
Well, so you have been, in our services, you've kind of been promoting our show. And we actually have a question. So we're going to try to talk about that question. It's kind of a complicated question because we don't know exactly what this person is trying to get. But one of the questions is going back to one of our past episodes when you talked about the word saint. And his question is there some Jewish significance to the word saint?
Well, it all depends on what you mean by significance and all that kind of stuff. Saint is a word that is going to be, it'll be translated in any language because we know the word saint in its real meaning is those who have been set aside for service. And clearly in the New Testament, when Paul talks about it, and I think Christ as well, but it's talking about those that are we would say those that are saved, those that are Christians. A lot of times folks will even go the Catholic route. Oh yeah, these are special people that are saints, and I don't believe that's biblical. Myself, I interpret the saints as those who know Jesus Christ. In the Hebrew, in the Jewish tradition, yeah, likewise, it is used for. It's not somebody. It's not necessarily a special class as much as, hey, yeah, somebody that's set aside for a specific task.
Yeah.
Somebody that is called by God to a special work. It's the I wrote down the two Hebrew words, kadash or hasid. Both mean the same thing, but it holy.
Yeah.
Holy, different. There's a purpose. You've been called by God. You've been set apart for a purpose. We see that over and over again in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And in Jewish tradition, I mean, folks say, well, you're talking about the Jewish Bible? I mean, what do you mean by the Jewish Bible?
Yeah.
You talking about the Torah, the first 5 books? Or are you talking about the whole Old Testament?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I would say saint, there is some Jewish significance. When it comes to the New Testament, we would say, well, those who place their faith and trust in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He can even go back to a question that we've answered before. How are people in the Old Testament saved? The same way we are. Faith.
Yeah.
Faith. They had faith in the coming Messiah. They had faith in the living God. They didn't know his name was Jesus. We know his name's Jesus. Yeah. We're on this side of it.
Yeah.
But you get over into Hebrews chapter, what is it? Is it 11, 12? What is the roll call of faith?
Faith, 11.
And and of course, most of the people it talks about there, Old Testament people.
Yeah.
Maybe all of them are Old Testament people, but he's just talking about by faith, by faith, by faith, by faith. And they exhibited great faith as God called them. So I would say yes. I don't know if they mean, hey, no. I mean specifically, did this come out of the Jewish faith? I think the word saint within itself was not a Jewish origin. I'm not exactly sure what language the origin was, but the meaning, without a doubt. Without a doubt, we see that in Jewish culture, tradition, whatever the case may be.
And then they also asked a question about is there a Gentile saint mentioned in the Old Testament?
Yeah, well, again, you go back to what do you mean by saint?
Right.
If you sit there and say,
there's a name.
Okay, somebody that has been set apart, called by God for a specific purpose, yes. The Old Testament's full of them. Rahab was a Canaanite prostitute who lived in the wall of the city. And did she have a purpose? Yeah, God had set her aside to help the spies be able to escape.
Yeah.
Ruth, same thing. She was a Moabite woman. God had a special plan and a special purpose on her life, set apart. So if you use it in that terminology, saint. Job. A lot of folks don't realize Job was an Edomite. And Gentiles, we keep going over and over again. People that God used, they said Ammon is one as well, but set aside for a specific purpose. And taking saint to mean that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you take saint to mean, a special class of people that their prayers go to God, and kind of that Catholic view, we would say no, there aren't any. I don't think there. But again, I don't hold that. That's what the word means. Nor the scripture. I think it was maybe Revelation 8 where we were talking about that. So. Good questions. Yeah, good questions. And if we didn't answer them correctly, man, you feel free to shoot a follow-up, and we'll try to, may not do it on the air, but we could reach out to you as an individual and answer that. But yeah, we love it when people ask questions, and man, feel free to send the questions our way. How do they get questions to us, Journey? Do you remember?
Podcast at highlandpark.org.
Podcast at highlandpark.org. And remember, Highland is Hiland, not no GH, Hiland.
I think I've missed a lot of emails because people have put HIGH.
Yeah, I'm waiting for one from my eye doctor right now. They said they've sent it twice. So listen, if one of our listeners, if you've got my eye prescription, I'd kind of like to know what that is. Because I've got some glasses I want to buy that are a lot cheaper to buy them online.
There you go.
And twice.
I can make something up.
Twice.
I'll just make something up.
You could. I don't want to fall down those steps walking up there,
We
though.
don't want you to. All right, so let's jump into Sunday, Revelation chapter 9, and this is kind of you previously talked about some trumpets, the trumpets of woes, and then this time
I previously talked about the trumpets of war.
Trumpets of war. Right. This time we're talking about the trumpets of woes, and man, it is definitely
makes you say, "Whoa!"
Yeah, for sure. And I knew what was coming, but to use my word, to dive into it a little bit as you preach through it, man, there's a lot. There's a lot that happens.
There is a lot, and I was very maybe naive to think, all right, I'm going to be able to cover all this in the amount of time that I try to cover things. And again, chapter 9 is one of those chapters, and we see this a lot in the book of Revelation, that if you don't do the whole thing, it really doesn't make any sense. And I do not even get into specific details on how these scorpions are described, and there's symbolic meaning to their description. And I'm just like, hey, listen, man, I don't have time to cover this, and you can read it for yourself. And
is that gonna be a part 2?
No, because to me, then I won't have enough. So what am I going to do? Sit there and let's talk 30 minutes on the color of its neck. And so I was trying to. I don't want to say that hurry up and get through the 2 trumpets, but I really wanted to use the majority of my time on how the people reacted when this judgment and this wrath's being poured out that Satan and demons are inflicting upon the people.
Yeah.
But the wrath's coming from God. You say, well, so God and Satan are working together? No. God's allowing the wrath to occur because God has already made it clear, hey, look, man, I'm not going to be as well. I'm going to take a step back. The devil and demons and evil's not going to be restrained during the time of tribulation the way it is right now. And so it is the wrath of God. You've got demons, and I mean, it is unbelievable. It goes back to, is it symbolic or is it literal? Man, if a tenth of it is literal, it's bad enough.
Right.
It's bad enough. I mean, you take it as, are they really going to be locusts? No, I don't think they're really locusts. I think he's trying to communicate in that day and time. Man, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see anything else. That's all I could see. That many of them. I don't think, the next time you see a locust, oh, look at that demon. That's a demon right there. Squash it. No. He's just describing how many they were. Or a scorpion. Now, I'll say this. Whew. Man, I've come into contact with enough scorpions. When we first moved here, scorpions, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, we lived way, way, way up there on High Cliff.
Way up north, huh?
Way up north, yeah. And we would little bitty scorpions would get in the house and stuff. And thankfully, I never stepped on one because you look at the little stingers and shoo, pow.
Yeah.
Hurt. So again, I don't think, these fighters are like scorpions. No, I think it's a picture. It's symbolic.
Yeah.
I do think the destruction is literal.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about that when it comes to the wrath of God, that again, I believe is going to be poured out during the time of tribulation, the 7-year time frame after the church is raptured out of here. And for our listeners, I believe the church is those that are saved, those that have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. The saints, exactly. And there are folks that disagree over that, and I'm just one of those. That's the way I believe the Bible teaches. And so enter into that 7-year period, and it's 3 series of sevens. So you start off with 7 seals, which means there's books that have seal on it. The seal is broken, and each seal is showing a judgment from God.
Right.
And then you get to that 7th seal is broken, and then the next thing you know, boom, we got 7 trumpets.
Right.
And so you're going through the 7 trumpets, and we dealt with the first 4 trumpets of war, things that are really that you see happening in wartime conditions. And then the trumpets of woe, and that's 5 and 6. And so next time, trumpet 7, but trumpet 7's it's gonna be blown, and it's gonna open up to a series of 7 more wraths, which are bowls. And so Yeah, it's some heavy duty stuff, and I think I've even said many times I've never in 34 years of ministry said, "Yeah, I think it'd be great. Let's do this on a Sunday morning."
Right.
Let's do this on a Sunday morning. But man, it's
Yeah.
the Book of Revelation is there for a reason,
Yeah.
and.
Well, and you said it week one, like almost week one, sentence one was like, it's the revelation of Jesus. And, every time we go through this, there is this, the exalting of who Jesus is and what he's doing in our life. There is this proclamation of the gospel. There is this urgency to make some sort of decision to follow Jesus. And, even though they're talking about the coming judgment, like there is this proclamation of what Jesus has done, which is
Years ago, I had somebody, and they meant us to be insulting, and they're sitting there, and they basically say this. I mean, they're standing there right in front of them. They're like, "Oh, you want to see people get saved?" And I held up my hand like, "High five!"
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I mean, if that's a negative thing to you, okay. But no, I do. I want to see people get saved. That's the most important decision anybody could ever make. And so, walking through Revelation, to me, it's a natural thing. Hey, man, the cross has got to be here. As far as the gospel of Jesus Christ, it's here. Because if all we did is focus on the judgment of God and then say, "Yeah, isn't that going to be terrible?" And don't say, but he's made a way of escape.
Yeah,
he's made a way of escape. And I thank God I've never gotten to the point where I'm like, "Oh golly, man, here they go with the gospel again." The gospel. So man, that's so played. Think of something new.
Yeah,
what a great reminder.
Absolutely.
Who he is.
Well, and so you talk about these trumpets, and you briefly mentioned some of the things in there because you have this. I think the way you put it was demonic arm disaster, and then
demonic army.
Well, if I would,
that's all right. It's okay.
Read my writing.
We understand. Yeah. Once you went away from that little laptop or little iPad, you got all messed up. But that's okay.
And then the death angel disaster. Did I get that one right?
You got that one right.
Okay.
You got that one right.
Again,
and I did disaster because we were talking in the first four, ecological, environmental, all those kinds of disasters. And so I just kept with that thing.
So you mentioned the response, though. So, yeah, there's all sorts of symbolism in those two trumpets. Again, things are going to happen. It's not going to be good. There are some symbolic things in there. But, going to what you alluded to earlier, this response from the people, and I think you even called it disturbing. There's this disturbing response from those survivors of, tribulation, and you got a little passionate on some of these things because, like you said, like there are things that need. Maybe we were talking about it beforehand. There's things that need to be said to people. As we're talking about the gospel, as we're talking about what Jesus has done, trying to make sure that our life is following in step with him. He gives us some things he gives us warnings. He gives us ways to live. But these people abandon that completely. Because you talk about, demon worship. You talk about murder, sorcery, sexual immorality, theft.
Exact words pulled from the text. Now, I preach out of a New King James Bible, so I mean the wording may be different in another translation, but that were pulled. But I mean, technically, a lot of them I even went back to the original Greek manuscript, so built off of that. But it's alarming. You would think to see what a fourth of the world's population that's left are killed. And then a third of the world's population are killed. Man, I mean, you would think, first of all, let's go back to the rapture. You would think people, even at the rapture, would say, "Oh my goodness, we had this thing wrong. Oh, God, forgive us. We turn from our sin. We turn to you." And there will be people getting saved during the tribulation. But, the scripture also says that there'll be a great delusion that comes over many of them.
Well, and you kind of said it, like, and I interrupted you. I'm sorry, but in this demonic type worship, like they're worshiping the thing that's causing all the problems. It's this delusion.
It's a delusion. Who does God cause that delusion? I don't know. I always go back to the point that I make that, what makes you think that you're going to be ready to receive Jesus if you're here during a time of tribulation and yet you won't turn to him right now? But yeah, it's not that they just reject Jesus, but it's not that they just continue to live in sinful ways. It gets greater.
Yeah.
The evil gets greater. The wickedness, the depravity gets even greater. Yeah. And I think even John's sitting there and saying, as all this is unfolding and he's allowed to see this, that he's even scratching his head.
Yeah.
Why don't y'all get this?
Yeah.
Why don't you understand? God's blessings, they usually accompany obedience.
Yeah.
God's judgment usually follows disobedience. And we know that's not always the case because, thank God, many times he even extends grace in disobedience. But he has extended grace here. There are times that he says, okay, I'm going to let you do this, but you can't kill anybody. And then they're like, it's so horrible, we're going to kill ourselves. Right. And they can't even do that. It's like everything that we think of as being a natural thing is now flipped upside down. And I don't know. It's just, how can they not see? How can they not see? But I think we would sit there right now, and I would say a true follower of Christ would sit there even right now at this moment and say, how can they not see?
Yeah.
How can somebody choose to continue to live apart from Jesus Christ is mind-blowing. But yeah, the demon worship. And I've shared a story that I dealt with years ago, and I had folks coming afterwards, where did this take place? Is this, it took place when I was in Little Rock, and I could even call the guy's name, but I won't do that. I don't have his permission. But one couple came up and they're, because I used to live in Corpus Christi, and they're like, this happened in Corpus, didn't it? Because there's a lot of demonic activity there. And I said, there is a lot of demonic activity there, but this didn't happen there. It was a guy who, really the way it started is he and a bunch of buddies were just out riding the roads at night, and they were drinking and all this kind of stuff. And they just come upon this church out in the middle of nowhere. And it was a Satan temple or Satan worshiping church. I don't know. There was something that identified it, that's what it was, with a graveyard in the back. And they're there, and one of the guys is like, they said there was a throne sitting in the back, and the throne was glowing, whether it had some lighting system or the devil was doing something, I don't know. And so they dared him to sit in it. And he's like, man, I ain't afraid to sit in that. And he sat in it. And now, again, none of them were believers. None of them had the Spirit of God. He sat in the chair. And then they go on, do their own thing. And he said, all of a sudden, Sunday morning, wake up, you got to go to that church. Go to that church. So he says, all right, I'll go. And he goes to check it out. And then all of a sudden, he gets tied in. And anytime he would think of not going back, all of a sudden, he's like, man, it would be excruciating, man, just excruciating.
Wow.
Sounds and pain and all this stuff. And thankfully, there was a longtime friend that one day, most of us Christians say, I don't want to be around one of them guys. And thankfully, there was somebody in his life that dared to share the gospel, and God ran after him and rescued him.
Yeah.
And he ended up coming to our church. Powerful testimony. When he first did it, he's like, they didn't want me out there spilling the secrets, recanting, saying, no, this is not true. This is not the way it really is. And anyway, just trying to shut him up. And
wow.
Anyway, powerful message of a guy who's like, I ain't afraid.
Yeah. Wow.
The Holy Spirit inside of me now. But he probably wouldn't say, let's go back and sit in that throne.
Right.
Yeah, you don't fiddle. You don't mess around, man. Don't joke about stuff like that. There is, man. There's all kinds of demonic activity that's happening in the world today, but it is just a fraction
Yeah.
of what's going to happen during the time of tribulation.
Yeah.
When that reserve, that pit, that abyss,
Yeah.
where all these extra demons are it's opened, and God's like, all right,
Yeah.
here you go. Here comes judgment.
Yeah. Well, and you even kind of give us a little bit of challenge to, because of the way they responded in, the demon worship, the murder, the sorcery, sexual immorality, the theft. Like, even there is this moment of encouragement to us to make sure that we as believers are not falling into the trap. And we'll stick to sexual immorality. Like, there's this, and we all know there's a trap for sexual immorality, but you're encouraging us not to fall into that. And I think it was appropriate for an audience to hear and be reminded how serious this stuff is.
Well, I would say most people are not going to. I think I'll start going to a Satan temple.
Right.
I think I'll start becoming a demon worshiper.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a temptation for a lot of people. As far as brick and mortar building that says, I don't know, is it the First Baptist Church of Satan? I don't know. I don't know what the first. I have no idea. Anyway, but there will be idols.
Yeah.
And we just don't call them idols.
Right.
We call them like culturally progressive things, or things that I've earned, just taking care of myself. And I think a very problematic thing in the life of so many people is, I don't know, it's like, instead of fleeing from evil, let me see how close I can get to it before it really becomes a sin.
Yeah.
I'll skirt it. Let me get as close as I can. And I even made the statement in the service, and I'm sure some folks got upset. I even I told Journey before we started today, people who were there yesterday, they may not know what I'm for, but they know what I'm against, man. And, I looked out, we had over 200 students leave today to head off to camp, and they're all there. And, that's thinking of that next generation and some of the things that we deal with. And you deal with this more than I do, especially back when you were doing student ministry. But, you've got some parents that, thank God we all had parents that encouraged us in the Lord, that in our rebellion would point us to Jesus. Yeah. And you've got some kids parents who profess to be Christ followers who are discouraging them to be sold out for Christ. And they don't say it this way, but it's all, basically what it is. No, the things of the world are more important. Yeah. The things of the world are more important.
You're grounded. You can't come to church.
Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life? Yeah. And, I made this statement. Yeah. Some of the teenagers here are more spiritually mature than their parents. Ow, that stung. Yeah. It should. Yeah. It really should. But as this is happening, and why would they continue to go back to these things? I'm going to go back to, they didn't have a foundation. Yeah. They didn't have Christian parents, grandparents, a church that was pouring into their life. Yeah. And that they would say, hey, whoa, this is not who I am. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't be living this way. No, I'm going to please Jesus with my life. And so, I got a little, I don't know, I call it the grandpa syndrome. Now that you got a grandchild, man, you just, I don't know, it's a little easier to cry, man. Yeah. And you just tenderhearted. And I started thinking, my goodness, out of all the families, Grant, my grandson, he was born into the family where, man, he's got a prayer army every day. Yeah. Here he is, 3 months old, praying over him. Yeah. And to think, we've got teenagers that they just want to serve Jesus, and they're fighting it with all they've got, and they don't have that in their lives. Yeah.
Well, and I know that we could spend so much time just kind of talking about everything that you talked about, but I will encourage you, if you haven't heard this sermon, go back and you can watch it or listen to it on our website, on all the social media platforms. So, but as always, Pastor Stephen, thank you just for pointing us to Jesus, man. pointing us to the truth of Scripture. We'll see you right here next time on the Unchangeable Truth Podcast.
This is Pastor Stephen Kyle, and I would like to thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unchangeable Truth. We would always love to talk to you about your relationship with Jesus Christ, so feel free to shoot us an email at podcast@highlandpark.org. That's HILANDPARK.org. The purpose of this broadcast is to help you fall more in love with Jesus Christ and your faith to grow as you consistently find yourself in the Word of God. If you ever find yourself in Panama City, please feel free to stop by and worship with us in person at 2611 Highway 231 North. May God bless you, and we look forward to you joining us again.